Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I know that we still have people rolling in. For those of you that are new, welcome. I see Alina, are you able to go on screen?
My camera is not working right now, but
Okay.
I may be able to switch to another computer.
It's okay. I just wanted to say hi and welcome. You're a new face. For those that are joining us for the first time, I'm Lisa Roger. I'm with the marketing team of Guidr, and everyone that you can see that has a Guidr backdrop is part of the team here as well. Dave Zampano is one of our co-founders. Guy Remond is one of our co-founders. And as always, we always like to have this great conversation to just, answer any questions that you might have. We also have Brianna Moriarty joining us today. She's a law firm leader that has embraced Guidr, and she's going to share some insights as well. So I do see some new faces. Bill, hi, welcome. Elena, hello. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Elena, okay, welcome. And I see a couple other people. Ella from Guidr Roundtable, hello, nice to have you with us. So I'm just going to start, and Tom, hi Tom, Dinesh, thank you guys. So before I start with our usual breakdown of insight and whatnot, just wondering if some of our new faces would love to tell us what made you join the call today and what you're hoping to get out of it. So Bill, I'm going to go with you first. Oop, I can't hear you.
Morning.
Oh, I got two Bills. So I got William/Bill, and then I have William Newstead. So
go with William/Bill.
So we'll go William/Bill first, and then Bill will come to you, and then Alina, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear from you as well.
Sure.
Oh, we still can't hear you, Bill. Will, I know. All right, maybe you can use your chat feature. And we'll come back to you. So Elena, welcome, and what brings you to the roundtable today?
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, happy to be here. I actually had seen this being promoted, and I was really curious about it, and just put it on my calendar. And for one reason or another, I just kept not being able to attend. So I know very little about it, but I am interested in knowing more because I put a lot of notes when I first heard about it, and I thought, oh, wow, this is something that can help us attorneys. And at the same time, kind of like it's already done for us. And so I want to know more. That's what I'm here for.
Well, thank you. And what state do you practice in?
Florida.
Florida. Thank you for joining us. Okay. William/Bill, let's check your audio again. Nope. Okay. Bill,
yeah.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you. Bill Newstead. Hi.
Hey, how are you? How's everybody doing today?
Good. Thank you.
So, so I've been thinking of pulling the switch on this for, from the beginning. And, I'm a high fact finder. So, takes me a while to do things. So I attended TAPR, unfortunately, virtually. Hope to get there in person next time.
You better get your butt there.
I know, Dave. I knew you were going to say that.
I'll come down there and drag you.
And you're not really that far, so you could do it.
I know.
And I watched, and I had my team on the Guidr call because we're all interested in what I see personally from my firm is the ability to take these cases that eat up a lot of my time and eat up my staff's time, and especially will-based plans, right? I never want to say to anybody, I don't want to do your will, right? But it takes a lot of time. It does take a lot of time. So this is like a time-saving thing. And then as we were watching, my paralegal, Mary, who's terrific, she said, well, how do we how do we know it's actually the person sitting there, that's actually doing their will? How do we know it's the person that's actually, it's not their, we've all heard of the situation, somebody signing a will, their hand is being held. How do we know now somebody's not typing in their stead? And she actually came up with a pretty cool idea. Have no idea if it can be integrated. I think, Dave, this is like the technology end, being able to, and she came up with this because her son just became a nurse and got his first job, and he had to go through the whole vetting process. And one of the things he had to do was, go on the IRS website to get transcripts, right, of his tax returns. And one of the things they do is, something that we all deal with every day, facial recognition. Maybe that's something that could be incorporated. I have no idea, but that was her idea, and I was like, wow, that's a really great idea, especially if you're doing it on a mobile device, right? Because I think the technology is already there, right? To log into your phone, it looks at your face, right?
Yeah.
I'm on my iPad right now, so to unlock my iPad, it saw it was me, and it unlocked. And if I have my eyes closed, it won't open, right? or if somebody else is trying to open it, it won't happen, And
Yeah.
then
So Bill, I'm just going to interrupt you really quick. So great idea. So Andy Beacock, can you wave? Hi, Andy, wave your hand. But he is our Chief Technology Officer. So I'm sure he's sitting there making notes of future implementation ideas and whatnot. So thank you for sharing that. Andy, did you want to speak to that at all before Bill continues?
Just that, yeah, it's something that we have kind of jotted down, Bill, as far as, additional stuff that we can look to add in the future. But thank you for bringing it up as well. And any other ideas as well, share them in these sessions, really helpful.
Yeah, if that's, I have no idea what something like that would take to do, but maybe something like uploading a photo ID. So at least you have government issued ID that, you could fall back on. I'm always thinking about down the road, right? Always thinking about down the road.
Yeah.
And the will contest and Newstead, who never met his client and now has to sit in surrogate's court and said, I never met my client. I have this app, judge, and the
Bill,
judge is
Bill, I'm going to stop your talking, Bill. I'm going to stop your talking.
Yeah, please do, because I'll keep going if you don't.
Because
stop.
You're close enough. I'm gonna squeeze your cheek. Don't let the tail wag the dog. All right. Don't let paralysis around a 0.0000001 percentage point stop you from serving the 99.999999. So great comment. Well, I'm going to focus on your statement in the first 30 seconds. You're thinking of pulling the trigger. So let's, is there any particular thing that we can share with you today that would get you over? Remember, as a high fact finder, you have to justify, right? And I'm a high fact finder too. So is there anything that we can share with you today that would help you get to that next step?
Yeah. So my first comment was just like the suggestion, right? It was like the wish list. Right. I always have stuff for the wish list, like action step and all that. I'm
wouldn't have it any other way, Bill.
So the other thing was when Lisa gave her awesome presentation at Taper, there was a slide that talked about services provided, and one of them, my jaw dropped when it said trusts. And coming into Guidr, I always thought that this was a platform for will-based plans, and that there would be a discussion on with the consumer that at some point, if they check certain boxes, they said, well, we can't help you here. Now go to the law firm. But see, and then I did the demo. Because I did the demo when it first came out, but it was really like clunky back then. But the demo was really, really come a long way. And then I did the demo, and then I did the same type of thing, and then it gave you options to choose, and one said, the essentials, and then it said revocable trust upgrade and irrevocable trust upgrade, and I just didn't think that was part of the platform. And it worries me because, and the fees that were quoted on there were like a small fraction of what myself and most of our membership, charges for those kinds of plans. So now I'm like, man, I've been in this for 7 years, invested in this company, and now the company's bringing out this platform that's going to put me out of business. So So, you know, that's Dave, you know me,
Bill.
man. That's where I went
Right.
instantly.
There
And I
is a
said, Dave wouldn't
landmine.
do
He
that.
just threw out a
Dave
landmine.
wouldn't
I
do
love-
that, but
Right.
but that's and let me just finish one last thing. It's because it's all interconnected. I had a long call yesterday. I had a call with Eric about it, and that's because I had a call with Tom recently, and then you know Tom put me in touch with him, and then Eric was going to get back to me about this stuff. So then this came up, and I said, well, great opportunity to just talk about it. And then the last thing was, I thought that it was only open to LWP membership, but it seems that it's being offered to outside LWP as well, which is concerning. And I understand technology is supposed to be disruptive, right? And it's supposed to change things. And I know eventually I'm going to get replaced by AI, and to some extent, right? It's all part of the progression of technology, right?
Well, it's an and.
So
Bill.
that's
Yeah.
where I'm like all over the place. I'm freaking out, and
Okay.
and
Well, I
Yeah.
want to recognize your freak out, because I think your concern is I'm going to call it a typical concern that we should talk through. So Lisa, I'll let you respond, but that's a conversation I think
Yeah.
worthy for us to have today.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, for everyone that's joining us for the first time, and Bill, you as well, I think it would be really helpful for you to go and listen to previous roundtable discussions, because a lot of your concerns have been talked about, and we've had other member attorneys bring their perspective to the table. And I think it'll just help kind of lessen your freak out a little bit. So you have that, absolutely. Number two, about Guidr. Guidr is solely available through Lawyers of Purpose. So if somebody wants to get on the Guidr platform, they join our community and our membership. There's multiple different ways that people can join our community, and those that want Guidr is just another way that they can get into the platform. So Guidr, again, the Lawyers of Purpose is the sole distributor of Guidr. Just like if somebody wanted to come and join our marketing membership only through LWP marketing, they can. So if somebody wants to join Guidr through our LWP Guidr membership, they can. If somebody wants to come in at a different level, they can. So that myth that Guidr is not connected through Lawyers of Purpose is not necessarily.
But is it open to non-LWP members? I understand that it's only offered through LWP, because I had a call with Tom recently, and you know, he said it's being offered to non-LWP members. Not to throw Tom under the bus, but it was part of our conversation, and
okay. So let me
and part of my freak out.
Okay, so let me clarify it. Anybody, we're constantly talking to people. Like for instance, Elena is not part of our community right now, but she's interested in the Guidr platform. So it's just like any attorney out there that would be interested in anything to do with Lawyers with Purpose. If they want to join our community, they can, and it doesn't matter what path they come through. So Alina can join the Lawyers of Purpose community by wanting just the Guidr platform, and she.
Yeah. So Bill, let me address a couple of Bill's questions, because I think they're worthwhile for any lawyer on the call. And I know we've talked about them in the past on some past calls, which warrant a review. High level. So Bill, let's clarify. You and I shouldn't care. Let me restate that. You and I should not try to restrict access. Technology is not something we can restrict. I want to share another thought. You said, I know eventually you're going to be taken over by AI. No, you already have been. It's already happened. LegalZoom have had its 5 millionth client. I have to say customer, because they're not lawyers. So you're already being taken over. It's just happening quietly, and you're sitting idly by, assuming, well, that doesn't affect me. It does affect you. It affects every one of us as lawyers. And I think it's really important for us as lawyers to understand that we have to be relevant, not relevant in our own minds, right? So we have a core value here at Lawyers with Purpose that says we're really curious. Curious means we look at and talk to people inside and outside our organization, whether that's our law firm organization or our Guidr or our LWP community. And if you look outside, what does the world want? The world is very clear what it wants. It wants easy access. And so let's address your issue, your fear of pain, because you saw the price of a trust upgrade or et cetera. So let me see if I can show you the business side of this. Currently, millennials dwarf boomers, okay, and Xers. Millennials are ages 20 to 40. Those are all people that are out there in the world. They have young children. They're married. They're single. They're not coming into your office, Bill. They're not coming into my office. They're not doing anything. And so Guidr is a platform for them, number one, so that they can come to our office in the way they're accustomed to. And I've challenged on other calls, and I think you're on some of those calls. Neither you nor I are going to go to any car dealership anymore. We're going to do everything online first, and then we're going to figure out the car dealership we're going to work with. We're going to do 99% of it digitally or through some kind of virtual application, and then we'll show up to pick up the car. Unless we do Carvana or something like that, then we don't even have to show up. They drop it off at our door. So remember, Guidr's goal is to become the largest, most accessible law firm in the world that doesn't employ a single lawyer. It's no different than the Uber model, the Airbnb model. Now, what's the relevance to us as lawyers? The relevance to us, the lawyers, is to remain relevant to the consumers. So we've got the boomer demographic. Let's talk about the older demographic, that you're scared to death that your $8,000 trust plan is going to become a $1,500 trust plan online. Well, here's my proposition. I believe, and I've been through this cycle many, many times, that people choose and self-select what they want. The truth is, Bill, if somebody's going to come to your office or my office for an $8,000 plan, they're still going to do that because that's what they want to come through and get that personal relationship and all that personal. Understand, those that aren't coming to your office or my office. They're going to the LegalZooms and the other webs like them. So if you want part of that business, that's what Guidr is going to give you. It's going to enable you now to service that market. Let's talk about the pricing of the trust on that line. So your demo, we just put a sample price in the demo. Each law firm sets their own pricing for whatever they do. Now, what I want to remind you of, though, remember, we're in business and we have to serve all of our clients, whether they're millennials, whether they're Gen Xers, whether they're boomers. And so we set those prices, but what you have to remember, you get what you pay for. I always say, don't ask me for a Cadillac at the Chevy price, right? They're not the same thing. So what you have to do is you have to give people the ability to be at their level and get what they need. So when we quote prices like $1,500, $2,000 for a trust, understand that that literally will have an hour or two's time by your law firm. Now, let me ask you a question, Bill. Would that be a profitable endeavor if in an hour or two's time frame, of which your personal commitment as an attorney might be 30 minutes and your teams might be 60 to 90, is that worth an $1,800 fee? No. I think it is, right? So if we want to look at Guidr as a replacement to our services, it's not. Now, here's what I'm warning you, Bill, and I'm warning all the other lawyers. Don't let it replace you as a lawyer, meaning don't dumb everything down to base plans. Remember, on that Guidr platform, it's only doing base wills, base RLTs, and base irrevocables. No, and if you went and did our base plan, that's literally a 30-minute interview with the client today in the office, and it's literally a 30-minute draft. It's not a significant plan. That's not what we're not selling enhanced plans on Guidr. So know your market. It's going to be critical that you know your market and you drive that market to Guidr, and you still maintain your market for that higher need client. That's kind of a high level overview of all this. Does that make sense, Bill?
It does, but one of the things that I learned in LWP is that we're not selling our time, right? When we're selling an estate plan, we're selling the value of the product that we're providing. So now if you take a look at it and say, well, it only really takes an hour and a half to do whatever needs to be done with a base plan, and then you're only charging that $1,500 because that's how much time you spent. It contradicts as at least
Well,
as I understand it.
Yeah.
So hang on 1 minute. I just wanted to jump in. Dinesh, I think you want to chime in on this conversation. So thank you for raising your hand. Sometimes it's nice to hear from a perspective of someone who's using the platform.
Same here.
Great.
So,
And hi, Bill.
And Bill, you got your audio working, Bill? Bill
Yeah.
got his audio working?
Awesome.
I'm on my
Thank-
cell phone watching. you guys.
Beautiful. That works. We
Perfect.
hear you. Good.
All right. Hey, Dinesh and team.
hi. You guys can say hi.
Hi.
So we kind of do a hybrid. We have our fees set reasonably for the will and the powers of attorney. And then if Guidr recommends a trust, it kicks the client back to us. So it says all trusts have to be done in the lawyer or in the presence of the lawyer, because to me, there's a lot of control issues there, and we want to make sure that the proper controls are in place. So for the trust side, we actually give that full service, but now we have all the answers for the will side. So when we're plugging everything into Hot Docs, we now have 90%, or I shouldn't say 90, but a large percentage of our interview template done, our design template done already, because they've already inputted those answers into Guidr. So we use it as kind of a hybrid. If somebody wants a will or power of attorney, we get all the answers and we have their phone number. So again, we do a quick check. I'll call the client for like 10, 15 minutes and say, hey, I got this to review over Guidr. This is you, correct? This is what you wanted to happen, correct? These are the people you wanted involved, correct? So now I've got a comfort level that if they're doing a self-signing, I've now spoken to the client. We just had a case where Debbie and I actually drove out to about an hour away to do a signing meeting with a couple, an elderly couple whose daughter in Florida designed their plan. So I've got communication with the daughter in Florida. In fact, she texted me yesterday saying she's going to be at her parents' house on Saturday. So we're going to try and get a coffee or tea or something. But those are the types of things that Guidr actually provides us the opportunity to do. So now we've got a bunch of different avenues of clients coming in.
And Dinesh, I'll say it a little stronger. You say you use it that way. You use it that way because Guidr requires it that way. So
Correct.
Guidr does not permit, Bill, so you understand, any online trust documents. What Guidr does is Guidr makes a referral into your office for the trust work. But as Dinesh says, if they do their will online, you have literally all but 3 questions that you would need. There'd be 3 additional questions you need to ask them to complete a base trust plan. So that was my point, is when you bring them in, it's always bringing them into Guidr is always pushing the client to you. And then in that meeting, you could say, well, look, the simple one online that we do is very, very basic and simple, and it can do that at that price, and we can complete it in this meeting. And you can also have an option of doing this, some of these other things, and then you could start to share why you might suggest whatever you want to suggest. Does that make sense, Bill? So it actually becomes a lost leader to get people into your office to have that conversation. But at a minimum, you're giving them base trust plans for someone that probably would have never walked in your office.
And we also, it also allows us to provide additional services like funding and all that type of stuff. So people aren't losing out on the services that we offer just because they're coming in through Guidr. They're just getting, I will say it's a little bit more efficient, because now they're kind of giving us the answers that we need, and we can just review them with them really quick and say, hey, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Instead of asking them the open-ended question and getting like a 35-minute story behind, hey, what's your name?
That's great, Dinesh. Thank you so much for sharing that. We always appreciate your insight, and maybe a little bit on later on in this conversation. We do have some new people joining us, Laura and Troy. Welcome to the conversation. But we can share some additional marketing ideas. But William, Bill / Panthers, I see that you have your hand up, and we now have audio. Welcome.
Thanks. You want me to jump into the conversation or introduce myself again?
Nope, you can jump into the conversation. We saw in the chat that you were with Seth Levy's firm and you guys are ready to rock and roll.
And with the other William, I mean, just remember like what Guidr, like the very basics of Guidr, what it was designed for, to make it easier for the client to set up an estate or will in the comfort of their own time and home. I mean, that's the really big push for this. A lot of times folks won't come in because they feel nervous or stressed or like you said, they get kind of going down another rabbit hole with other conversations, and that becomes time consuming. That's when your time and money becomes, valuable. And so they can do this at home, and it's monitored by an attorney, and they can kind of skim over it, look over it like the other gentleman was saying, give them a call. Hey, is this what you meant? Or maybe you didn't see this part, but you got to do this and what have you. We feel at Seth's law firm, that's where the value, really comes in. It saves him a lot of time and money, where he can just focus on kind of putting it all together and skimming over and making sure you've filled it out correctly. It saves the client a lot of money. And, we'll get into the marketing part of this later, but, you got to look at, literally what it does for you, by letting them fill it out at home versus if they were sitting in your office. And someone else did bring it up. It does open up the door for other services, that you render, whatever it is at your law firm. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. Just one quick question. We have Laura and Troy. You just joined the conversation. Welcome. As you know, we are at the Ask Guidr Roundtable. So if you have any questions about the platform, anything and whatnot, this is your time just to open conversation. Right now, we're segueing into our marketing. And I see Brianna Moriarty has her hand raised. So Bri, I know that you are a law firm leader out of a firm in New York. So she was going to share some perspective. And again, for those of you that are on the call for the first time, go back to previous Ask Guidr Roundtables. You can find them right on our website, where we actually have had insight from other fellow member attorneys sharing their successes and concerns. And it's just been great conversation. So Bree, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. So a couple things that I've been hearing. So resident millennial on the call. That I've been with the law firm now for 10 years. And if it wasn't for the industry that I currently work in, I would have no idea what estate planning is. The only reason I know why estate planning is so important is because of the job that I have. So it's always been something that I've been passionate about for my older family members. But now that we offer Guidr, we now officially have a product for anyone from the ages of 18 through to after death. And I tell everyone that because yes, while everyone needs a will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney at 18, millennials aren't coming in to talk to attorneys because we live a lifestyle that we believe we can do everything and we're going to find the easiest way to do it, right? So in a demographic that we were unable to touch before, we now have a way to get after them to say, you need this is important. And I am a little bit excited on this call because we offer Guidr. I just got done on Monday presenting to one of 6 presentations I have with the Utica Fire Department, that if I didn't have this product, that municipality would never have talked to us, because I'm in a room full of guys and men and women. I keep messing that up. Men and women that are of my age set, that are young, married, have young children. Some are single. Some have let me know that they're in complicated relationships and what do they do? And so we're now able, and so we're working at more, we're doing both retail and wholesale marketing of Guidr. But we're really seeing success by doing, we're actually offering lunch and learns. So we're going into companies and municipalities. We're working with the Utica Fire Department right now. We're in conversations with the Utica Police Department, because I'm standing in a room and I had them raise their hands and say, those of you in here, how many of you have a will, healthcare practice, power of attorney? And out of the 2 sessions, 2 people raised their hand. And I actually said to them, I go, you all run into burning buildings for a living and put your lives in line every day, and you don't have anything set up for your families. I said, I get it. Nobody wants to talk about this stuff, but I was able to get a group of, each session had 23 firefighters in it. And I got them to answer some tough questions. And now they have the access to get on the platform with their spouse, with their girlfriend, whatever situation they're in. And they're now able to protect themselves, all with the assistance of the Estate Planning Law Center backing it up. Now, I padded the room because I brought my professional services coordinator and I brought my attorney, David Mancuso, with me, just for the off chance to be like, hey, get to know the people behind the computer screen, because this is the attorney that's going to be reviewing all of your plans. And I will tell you that while I'm there talking about Guidr and go online and get a plan done, I've answered questions about, we've answered questions about business planning and LLCs. I've answered questions about long-term Medicaid planning, because they all have parents in the room. And I've also had people that are like, listen, I'm not real familiar with the online stuff. What do I have to do to get in front of you? Or, hey, I'd like to learn more. Now it's come to our workshop. So just by getting in the door, because we offer this product, we've now reached out to a whole different group that would have never have even talked to me prior to being able to say, hey, we now do this online, do it at your own time. And these are people that won't come and see us just because of whatever reason.
Another thing, Bree, that I think is important to say all the way back is, it sounds as if you got in front of over 100 people that would have never walked through your doors if you didn't go into them, number one. Number two, you followed the system, you did a lunch and learn process, they filled out evaluation forms. And then in addition to that, what she's doing is she's showing them how easy it is, having them pull up their cell phone and type in guidr.legal/EPLC, get started. And we're trying to capture just that basic information so they can go into the workflow. So we can report out and we can say, we were in a room of 24 people. Of the 24 people, 16 filled out an evaluation form. And then of the 24 people, we got 10 people to enter the workflow. So, and now we have the capabilities to start tracking. And oh, by the way, they use that awesome promo code. So now they know the true fruits of their labor, because they have now offered that specific fire department a certain percentage off their plan. So now we got it full circle.
So, and yeah, thank you, Lisa, because I was going to get into all of that. The other part too is Guidr works right within our systems and processes that are already in place. So I did a synergy meeting with the fire chief, and I barely had to get through what I need to talk to, because he said, absolutely, my guys need this. He was all about, it was the easiest synergy meeting I've ever had, because he basically said, when are we scheduling this? And the way that we set it up was, we're coming in, it's like maybe a 25 to 30-minute presentation, not even. And then they can ask whatever questions they want. And then, they're free to go. And so I was just super excited about that, because again, I'm super excited about it because I've been in the business of it for a while. So I see the importance of it, but now it's even more important for this younger demographic that we weren't really talking to before, to now say, listen, we have multiple ways you can work with us. You want to do it online? You don't want to talk to us? Great. Click the button. You want to come into a workshop? Great. Click the button. You're in crisis and mom's going into a nursing home? Great. Click the button. Listen, I'm very excited. I know, I can't help it. It was just, they've had me in multiple different presentations this entire week. And that was such a good one, because the Estate Planning Law Center is all about family. Guidr fits right into that, because now I just met with 46 people that I can help protect their families who
And
are
they could do it
protecting
online.
other families every single day. So it's
Yeah.
just, it was one of my biggest wins for this week, because it really, I was like, wow, we're doing something so much bigger than we ever thought.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
I'm done now.
Thanks, Bree. All right. William Bill Panthers, you're next, followed by Dinesh.
Oh, yeah, I was just wanting to confirm what she's saying. I worked EMS for 20 years, before having to retire, but you're right. Like, that's a gold mine right there.
So go
And those
tap
guys,
on.
yeah, those guys and gals, they're so busy. I mean, this is like perfect for them. Trust me, 24-hour shifts, you're gunning, running, going, saving, a lot of times, depending on the county you're in, they can do this in between shifts while they're at one shift from the comfort of a laptop.
And I will be honest, I was surprised that they didn't have anything and nothing's even provided for them.
Yeah.
That was so very surprising to me when I met with Scott.
Yeah. Here's another thing. You have nursing homes that have staff. They're under a lot of the same situations, hospitals. I mean, schools.
Any large employers in your community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the market's really ripe. You just got to be creative and get in front of, like she said, sometimes those meetings, initial meeting isn't going to be as hard as you think it is. They're going to be like, yes, we need this. Come on in. When do you want to do it?
So Bill, just to follow up, in your Guidr toolkit, you can't see it because it's purple on purple, but you can't see it, but there is a Guidr actual.
If you put it in front of you, Lisa,
hold on, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, you mean the marketing kit there?
So if you go in your marketing kit, right, there is a tab to download your Guidr brochure. It's about Guidr. It has the steps, and then you can brand it for your law firm. So what I would recommend, what we've been seeing is, so go back to your firm, and every team member on your firm, give them a unique promo code. Slap the promo code, get a bunch of these brochures printed. And then because you got in with the EMS crew, go hand them the brochures and give them your unique promo code. And that's how everybody can push the product. So,
and we're about to do something very similar. We're in a large area, and we have a Chamber of Commerce business thing coming up. We're going to make business cards. And so with the promo code, it'll be my first and last initial with the year and have Guidr after it. And we're putting QR codes on them. So all they have to do is scan it, go straight there. Has our,
I love it. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. That gives us
love the QR code.
250 cards, less than 20 bucks at Staples.
Make
it happen.
There you go. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Dinesh, and then Dave Zampano, and then Troy.
I have one real life story, and then Nicole has a question for Brianna.
Okay.
Real life story. Last Tuesday, we got a call from a real estate agent saying, hey, I'm representing the sellers. We're supposed to close on Friday. The problem is the husband collapsed last Tuesday and he's in a coma. There's no power of attorney in place. What can we do? I said, well, we can go to court to get a guardianship and conservatorship in place. So we got to wait that out. Or we can wait for him to die and go into probate. So we got to wait that out. Or we can wait for him to come out of his coma. So either way, they feel like the deal's lost. Here's my solution. I'm meeting with her broker and 3 other brokers in the next week to talk to them about Guidr and say, hey, for $79, every client that walks in, they can get a power of attorney in place to protect the end deal. And a couple brokers have already said, well, our title companies do that for free. And I said, show me the language. And it's strictly about real estate. So we're offering a more comprehensive power of attorney for them through the real estate broker's office. And now that's a lead for us too. Because now I can call that person and say, hey, I see we put a power of attorney in place for you over Guidr. What other parts of your plan are missing? Let's talk this out.
I love it. Thank you. And for those that are joining us today, remember the uniqueness about Guidr is that it's backed by you, the local attorney. It's not like any other platform. No one else can say, well, we do it just like that, because that's not true. From all the research we've done, Guidr is backed by the local attorney. It's backed by you. It's not backed by some random company. So thank you, Dinesh, for saying that.
And then Nicole's got a quick question for
Yes,
the.
yes.
Hey, Brianna. You said that you had 30 minutes, was it workshop or presentation for them? How did you break that up?
It's the same presentation we gave for our lunch and learn.
So we break it up we do the legal document. So we go in and we talk about the will, healthcare practice, power of attorney. And I do a brief discussion about trusts. I don't get deep in trust. If they want trust, then we talk about getting them enrolled in the how to protect yourself in 3 Easy Steps workshops. But basically we pulled it right from the workshop. I tell the stories of the healthcare practice, power of attorney, the will, why that is a plan. And then it's quick. And then real quick, we put directions on how to get to Guidr on the back of all of our business cards.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lisa just answered so it's the same presentation that we use I just used it for our first lunch and learn over it. So that's why.
Perfect.
Presentation.
Awesome. Thank you. Dave Zampano.
Yeah, I want to comment on everything every time someone's saying something. So, Lisa, I just want to acknowledge that last post for someone who may be new to the calls. That presentation that Dinesh is talking about and Brianna is in your Guidr platform. It's all included with your Guidr support stuff. Now, a couple thoughts I wanted to capture. Number one is I want to highlight the discount code. So in Guidr, you could set your own discount code and make it unique. There's no limit on how many you do. So I want you all I need Brianna and Lisa, you to capture what I'm going to say, because I'm going to share something with you that you need to do as a takeaway. But this morning I was on a radio program. I'm on a radio program once a month. And obviously the conversation we brought up was high school graduations and how you should never let your high school graduate without a healthcare proxy, even power of attorney. And I even said they really don't need the will. I don't even care about the will. Healthcare proxy and power of attorney, they're going to send them off to college. You want to make sure that you still have some access to them, because I explained how when they turn 18, you no longer have access to their health records or anything else. So on that radio cast, we went a little while. They said, well, how do people access it? I told them how to get to you go right to our website and click on the Guidr button. I always say the purple Guidr button. Mm-hmm. And I say, and because you guys pushed this today, here's what we're going to do. Anyone listening today, they could enter the code WUTQ10 and they'll get a discount just for listening today. And I did that on the fly, and I just told Lisa and Brianna that because they're going to have to go back now. It'll take them 30 seconds to put that code in the system.
I think she's doing it now.
I'm doing it now.
WUTQ10. So look at how quick that was. Now I can make it WUTQ20. I can give any percent I want. I can have a friends and family with a higher rate. I can do my own personal family, nieces, nephews with an even higher rate. I can set any code anytime I want. So really important that we understand that this really becomes a new way to communicate. And again, we're not into showing to discounting. I don't like discounting. I like discounting to show the value of the relationship that this person gave. For example, this radio show gave us the platform to talk about it. So I wanted to give them value. I'm not doing it for the end consumer. I'm doing it for the person who's giving us the referrals.
Absolutely.
A couple other things I want to highlight. Oh, go ahead, Lisa. You want to talk on that?
One other thing.
Yeah.
Talking about graduating seniors and how you can get it different in your marketing. We actually added, Dave, and I don't know if you've seen this, it's running on social media right now. We've added Jen and her daughter.
I did see it. It looks
as the two people in the promo for Get Your Graduating Seniors Health.
Jennifer is my law partner, and her daughter graduated high school, and they have a picture on promoting this. I think it's a great idea. Couple of the things I want to go back to. I'm sorry, Lisa, on the coding. I'm assuming you have a comment.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I
want to go back to Bill's comments, because if Bill, you were in the Guidr session at Taper, I'm hoping you took away a stronger message than everything we've talked about here. Everything we talk about on these phone calls, unfortunately, is about the documents. And as I said in that presentation, and I say again today, I'm going to say this softly, Guidr is not about the documents. Okay. Guidr Online Documents is just an extra added benefit. What Guidr is the digitization of your law practice, which means if you read this book, see the trick, Lisa's put it in front of you and then they can see it. If you read the book, you come to understand that digitization is happening everywhere. And I'm going to be a little more blunt, Bill. Don't procrastinate too long, because if somebody in your neighborhood or down the road calls us, they can hop on and they'll be pushing this before you. At the end of the day, the world wants this, but that's what the world sees. What we're really building Guidr for is for the lawyer. What I mean by that is when you think about your intake call, right? Do you know how many people called your office last week? Well, I'm going to be blunt and say you only know that to the degree that your intake specialist was on and that they document everything properly in your system to know who called you last week. Okay. Now, assuming they did document it properly, then the next question was, was your intake specialist able to enroll that caller into a workshop or into an initial meeting? Then if they were, okay, was your intake specialist able to continue to send the follow-up information, to remind them when the workshop is, to send the follow-up information, to make sure when their initial meeting is, and oh, by the way, did they come to the workshop? Again, sending them a follow-up letter. Oh, and by the way, do they want a vision meeting? And following all that up. And then they come into the vision meeting and maybe they hire you and maybe they don't. And here's my point. All of this work is being done by a human. Guidr is doing 100% of every bit of that. We have digitized your practice, but here's the key part. For that audience that's never, ever going to call your intake specialist. Okay. People going online are not the people calling your intake specialist. Two different thought processes, two different mindsets. So remember, what Guidr is doing is it is automating and digitizing your law firm processes. And then for our LWP members, it's integrating it right into your action step so that it even shows up in your reporting and tracking and you know it's there. But what it's also doing is it's also doing your marketing and sales for you, because it's doing follow-up campaigns for people who don't finish. It's giving you the data to follow up with them and put them in your marketing campaigns. It's doing all the background work. And this is just the beginning. Let's add the other two things Guidr's doing. The estate plan advisor to say, hey, a will's not enough. You need a trust. Come in and talk to us. And that goes back to the conversation we were having a half hour ago about why you want people to come into your office to have that conversation. Then you upsell them or do whatever you have to do to show your value. It's also about Medicaid. Hey, put in your data. Now, again, at this stage, we talked about this at the presentation. At this stage, all they can do is enter their data, which will then present to you that information where you can then put it in your system, generate the opinion letter because you have it through the LWP system, and then mail that opinion letter on the Medicaid qualification out to them. So it's actually doing marketing for you. It's doing sales for you. It's doing follow-up for you. It's doing nurturing for you. And it's actually doing the drafting for you. It's doing everything for you. This is not about documents, lawyers. This is about digitizing your practice and getting down to technology, all of the tasks in your office that can be digitized down to technology. Remember, we're at the early phase of this and we're making enhancements every month. I was on a call with Andrew yesterday about some new enhancements that'll be coming out in the next few months. Very exciting. But again, start using it now for what it is. And then as these other features go on, they're just going to evolve into making you more efficient in your practice.
Thank you, Dave.
Can I piggyback off that really, really quick?
Yep, and then Troy, you're next, I promise.
I'm sorry, I'll be really brief. It helps with RMS a lot, that new aspect that you added with all of the asset protection information in it, with all their assets and all that type of stuff. I was doing a demo for a financial advisor the other week, and he was like, oh my God, this is all the information we ask our clients for. We should bring you into one of our initial meetings so we can just capture everything and work as a team right from the get-go. So these are all additional features and bonuses.
Thank you, Dinesh. Awesome, awesome. Troy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for your patience.
Sure. Hey, I apologize. I joined a little late. So if you guys have answered these questions, I've got 2 questions. I apologize. There's been a lot of talk about pretty active marketing, going out, meeting with groups of firefighters, meeting with groups of employees. Is this something that can be put on your website as more of a passive marketing channel to capture those people that might lead to another, a more enlarged plan, presuming that the system has flags in it where at certain interview points, it would take them out of the interview and say, you need to consult with an attorney. And then the second question, I think Dave just answered a bit. And that one, well, go ahead and deal with the first one. I just blanked on my second one.
Okay, so it's going to be twofold. I'll talk about the passive approach on your website. The answer is yes. Every single person in this room or on this webinar probably has a different type of approach of how they want to implement Guidr. And all we ask is that you have intentionality with the platform. Don't just throw it up on your website and say, we'll see what happens with it. Have some sort of intentionality with it. Set realistic expectations. So if you want to use Guidr as a soft approach and have it as a presence on your website as an option, but not truly pushing it right away, that's okay. But just have realistic expectations, because we've had people that have done that and then like, well, nothing's coming through our website. Well, let's start from the beginning and say, what's your expectation of the platform and how do you want to use it? So if that's what you want to use it for, great, go for it. And then eventually it will evolve from there. Dave, with regards to the technology within the platform and people filling out questions and answering and certain notifications going up, you want to talk to that?
Yeah, so we actually talked to that at the beginning of this call.
Okay.
A big picture. No, Troy, let me highlight it because I like the question. Every question to me is very important because you represent a thought of some group of lawyers out there. So don't discredit your question. It's a very good question. What I'm going to say is what the platform does is it does the education by allowing them 3 options. One is, do I want to develop my own will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney? If it does, within that interview, and I encourage you, Troy, to get the demo to go through it yourself. And what it does is it takes you through and it has what we call upsells along the way. Do you have a business? Okay, click that button. Then we put in special business powers into a power of attorney. Do you have something else? So we have limited upsells. But what it also does, it has the estate plan advisor. And the estate plan advisor says, hey, will, healthcare proxy, and power of attorney are the essentials. It's called the essentials. Do you need more? Go through the estate plan advisor. And the beauty about that, Troy, is none of that can be done on Guidr. That can only be done in your office. So 100% of that portion of Guidr is really a way to funnel and pre-screen these folks and hand it to you on a silver platter. So when they go through and complete their surveys, you get those surveys and you know exactly what they said is important. So you as the attorney already know how you might service them. Now, the way this links into the technology of the Lawyers with Purpose platform is that we have, it melds right into our digital documents, right? So it actually generates our will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney, which means all of that data that's collected in the Guidr platform is provided to you and could be input into the system to generate the trusts. So a lot of that basic information. So again, digitizing down anything in your legal process. Once someone comes in your office, anything that can be digitized down the technology, Guidr does.
Thank you. There's another thing I want to give one more thing. Really quick time check. It's 2 minutes till 11. This ends at 11, but I will stay on and continue the conversation for those of you that have to sign off. Not a problem. Thank you for joining us. Troy, the other thing that I wanted to let you know is during the the review process, that's another area that allows you to, when you're reviewing something, and if you think that there's some indicator, leading indicator that's like, whoa, wait, what? This now, that's the beauty of being backed by the local attorney. You can pick up that phone and call them and say, hi, Mrs. Jones. Thank you for doing Guidr. We're reviewing your documents. I just wanted to point this out to you. This would be our recommendation. And Mrs. Jones will either say, oh my gosh, thank you, I'll come in, or she'll be like, nope, this is what I want. Okay. And then you continue on. So there's a lot of different ways, in addition to with what Dave said, and then during the review, that you can absolutely.
And again, I always remember, we always recommend to the client after they've completed the interview to opt for an in-office signing and review, which gives them a 30-minute virtual review of their plan, and then a signing, which does not have to be done by the lawyer, by the way. That could be done by team members. So again, it's all there to support the lawyer's practice. That's the real key thing here. Guidr is not an online document platform. It's a law practice digitization platform to enable lawyers to become more efficient and more competitive, to protect our jobs from the intrusion by the self-help websites that are not lawyers.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Troy, did your questions, are you all set?
Yeah.
Bill had his hand up too. Yeah, go ahead.
My other question had more to do with the platform, and it's kind of a few different issues, but is it geographically protected areas? Is it, you were referencing lawyers with purpose. Is this technology tied into some CRM system you have, or is it integrate with others? Is are the documents customizable on the templates, or are they your documents? Just kind of more. And like I say, if you've covered all that, I can.
I'll give a 30-second answer. I'll give a 30-second answer. Obviously, Lawyers with Purpose has a complete law practice management system for attorneys in the estate planning, elder law, and asset protection area. So that's something you can do some research on after the call. Yes, Guidr ties in with every aspect of that. Next, we do not give any customization at the Guidr level. Why? That's not what Guidr is about. Guidr is cheap, easy, quick.
Okay.
You have full customization in the full system, which you do as the lawyer. Guidr is you get what you get, you're paying cheap, that's what you get.
Okay.
So that's a quick answer to that stuff. But it does integrate with the whole other system that you have incredible. We have the most customizable system in the industry.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Bill, thank you for your patience, sir.
Bill's going to be the bookends, the open and the close.
We love
I'm going
it.
to end on a positive note, though. So
well, you started on a positive note, so you're good.
I hope you thought it was positive. I don't, I don't want to, so let me start here. So the first thing I would think is that, if it's the digitization of the law practice, where if there was a full adoption of this technology, you have to, I will, and you have to retool your bus, right? Because a lot of the things that you just said, it does this, and this is one of the things that one of my team members brought up. She's like, this is all stuff that I would potentially do. What happens to me? So there would have to be a retooling of how we do things as a firm, right?
I'm going to say, welcome to the 21st century, Bill.
Yeah, right. No, I know.
And what's important is that you let your team members understand, no, it's not replacing them. It's doing their job in areas they don't want to. In other words, they don't want to be, do they want to work 24 hours a day? Do they want to work on weekends and holidays? If they do, then say, great, we'll stay open. Otherwise, say, let the people use Guidr, and we get to take all that information in, and they get to follow. Remember, it comes into your internal action step system. So they're still your clients. That's the beauty of this. These are your clients. Your client service folks still have to follow up and get that relationship. And a lot of times, what a lot of our members are saying is they're doing a personal call to anyone that goes into the system just to say, to thank them for going and find out if they have any other questions as a marketing thing. So yeah, it's not an or, it's an and.
The other thing is,
oh, sorry.
If you don't mind, the other thing is that they have to have the mindset that this allows them to work on more sophisticated plans, and they're not stuck in the trenches doing the basic stuff where it might not be the most best use
Oh,
of it.
I absolutely agree. And we all the time are like, God, I wish there was
Well,
an
it's
easier
never-
way. And that's what
it's
Dave
never-
always said.
Bill,
Yeah.
for
cheap,
me,
easy,
I'm
quick,
gonna
right?
be honest, Bill.
Yeah.
When people see me, I had a guy do it to me yesterday, Dave, and I asked him a couple questions. I said to him, Joe, go to my website, click on the Guidr. You could do this all yourself. I said, I'd love to have you come in the office, but I got to charge you 4 times more than if you go on my website. Just go do it. And he's like, oh man, thanks. And I said, you know what? And add the code DJZ10, and you're gonna even get another consideration.
Yeah.
I drive people to that.
Right. And the last thing, the reason why I am moving forward with Guidr is I had a discussion with a strategic partner of mine, a financial planner who I do a lot of business with. And apparently I didn't talk to him enough because I said, I need your opinion on something. I value your opinion. And I went through how Guidr works as I understand it to work. So even as I understood it to work,
Yeah.
he said, Bill, he goes, honestly, there are many people that I didn't send to you because I didn't want to waste your time. And these are the people that maybe didn't have a lot, and maybe they have a little bit, but they still have the need, right?
Let me
So I
raise
didn't
one
want
more
to wait.
point
And I
to
said,
that,
what do you
Bill.
mean you don't want to waste your time? You never think that way. I told him, but he's like, I know
I'm
you're a
telling you,
busy guy
perfect
and you
story.
wouldn't want to waste your time on this. I was like,
Well,
what?
let me tell you one more application. That's a perfect example, Bill, of how our brains think versus others. Northwestern Mutual announced a partnership with willandtrust.com. How many of you lawyers on the call are excited about that? Well, let me tell you, we created Guidr because of my relationship at Northwestern Mutual. Okay. And what we're doing is actually Northwestern Mutual said, screw willandtrust.com. We want lawyers doing this. So we're going to use Guidr. So we even have the local Northwestern offices say, no, we're not using Will and Trust. We're using Guidr on your website. I'm telling you, the professional community will welcome this with open arms.
Hey, Bill, thanks for sharing that story. I was going to ask you to do that after our call because you shared that with me the other day. And I think that's a great story because that's exactly why the RMS system and Guidr is going to be critical as you go forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Elena, thank you for joining us, taking time out of your day. Troy, Ella, Erich, Laura, Joyce, Tom. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you, sir. Tim, everybody, just thank you so much for joining in on the conversation. We appreciate it. We hope that it's been impactful. You have takeaways. And as always, for those that are on the platform, don't forget you have your listserv and help desk at your fingertips, plus the whole entire Guidr portal with marketing support and whatnot. And then for those of you that are still thinking about Guidr and you want to get in on some additional conversations, just let Tom know and he will get us all aligned with whomever you'd like to talk to from the team. So thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it. And bring more questions and conversation next month, everyone.